You know who it is. Hey, where's the logo? You gotta get the logo right. There you go. There we go. Welcome to Funky Uncles, episode 30. Excuse me, not 30, 40. 41. One. Peep the scene, babe. We got this.
It's crazy how they love you.
Crazy how they love you.
When you making your dreams come true.
Wow.
They lying, they still, they swear that they real. But you know the deal. These phony niggas looking for a meal. But you can't let them get too close to you. Cause they wasn't there when you needed food. They wanna hang out, but I'm not that dude. But here's the truth. I don't need you. So I can close. I never loved the dreams of mine. I never trust them. I never act like I'm lost in it for mine. All of a sudden, they say, you know what I mean? I never loved the dreams of mine. I never trust them. I never acted for nothing for mine. All of a sudden, they on my team. I'm the green, but I never need anything. You know what I mean? I never asked for nothing. I never asked for nothing. I'm my own team. I'm on the race for the green. For the money, I'm a fiend. You just don't know. You can never trust a snake. They can only be big. That's all they know. They be quick to say, bro. Can you please give me some gold? You wasn't there when I was struggling, yeah. Wasn't by my side when I was hustling, yeah. Now that the tables are turned, and I got all that I learned. I'm a concern. Set the free that you burn. See the lesson you learned.
Once again, we have Monty G on my team. You don't know? Might want to check him out right there on YouTube. Well, on all the platforms, you feel me? Little cuz, keep doing your thing. Definitely promote you and support you all the time. One love, fam. Okay, so out of this and wait for the panel. Oh man, they went back to all right. Okay. Okay. We're about to have a musical session here. So here we are tonight on the Funky Uncles. Don't know who's gonna show up. You never know who's gonna show up from night to night. So we just go ahead and we have a good time while we're on. And we'll see what we can get into. Let me go in here and see who else in here may want to jump on. Boom, boom, boom. No, let's see. Who have we not had on just yet? Oh, let's see if Buttons wants to come on here. You know. Oh, look, we at Sim. He might want to join. Let's see. Has anybody? Nope, nobody still. Nobody wants to come on tonight. You know me, I do this thing all by my sizzle. All for Del, all for Del. Well, I sent out a couple of invites. Those that want to come on, I appreciate it. Those that may not have the time, I understand. But anyhow, it is time to take off and get this thing going. Feel me? So here we go. Turn this up. you can see me. Gilligan vibe. Anyway, let's start with the brother Iman. Iman Shumpert got caught. Some people say it's hash, weed, hash, whatever the case may be. Bruh, really? Transporting or crossing state lines or doing whatever with what is considered an illegal substance in some states just isn't a smart move. Now, I do understand that being in the Midwest and headed west, there are a lot of states that have legalized cannabis, herbals, trees, weed, ganja, whatever you want to call it. It's legal in some states. I get that. But it's not legal in all states. That's the point we're making. That's the point I'm trying to make. And we have to understand those that do indulge. I have nothing against it. Wasn't for me, but it's for others. Enjoy it. I tell you, if you're watching this, you can have my portion because I don't like the way it makes me feel. But people can still function off of it, and I love it. If you're not bothering anybody, you're not hurting anybody, and you can still do what you have to do, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I know the government wants to control this, that, and the third, but you're supposed to have some type of freedoms. We won't even go there right now. Back to the brother. Bruh, the article said you were headed to California. And California, from what I heard, they got that good. I had a family member tell me the farther you go west, the better the weed. Okay, whatever you have from somewhere else in Cali, I'm sure they either have it or they have something comparable. Traveling with it is just not smart. Now, the good thing, if you can say it is good, is that the brother's never been in trouble before. And that's a good thing because there's a good chance that he could possibly wind up with, let's say, maybe probation instead of having to do jail time. But they are labeling this as a felony. And we, those of us that know, we know that with the felonies, some people push hard for felonies as opposed to misdemeanors. So I wish the brother luck with this and hope that they don't really push for that 2 years and the fine. Give him the fine. He can afford the fine. If you can give him probation, being that it is his first offense, let's go ahead and give the brother probation and see and pray that he learns his lesson. One time is a mistake. 2, 3, 4, 5 times, it's a habit. And to everybody else that's out there watching, don't let your habits get you in trouble. Trust me with this. And it's never good. So stay in control of it. You control it. Don't let it control you. Boom. Let's switch gears. Now we're gonna switch gears to Brittany Griner. It's a head scratcher. There's so many questions, being that this is not her first time being in Russia. So I have to pose the question, is this something that she's done on other trips and they didn't say anything? Or was it a certain amount that she had that made them say anything? But from what I've read about Russia, any amount is not a good thing. So there are conspiracy theories about her probably being a pawn in this game, this political game. But at the same time, I want to say to the sister, sis, you got to watch out, man. You got to watch out. I understand that you were doing this to supplement your income because the WNBA money is not as great as the NBA money. And, that's a whole nother subject within itself. For those that really want to say, why can't they make the same amount? Quite simply, they don't make the same amount because they don't make the same amount. The WNBA does not produce as much money as the NBA, so there's not the same amount of money to go around. So basically, for those to say they should get paid the same, you're basically saying, go ahead and bankrupt the WNBA and make all of our women players go overseas. That's basically what you would do, because they don't have the billions of dollars that the NBA has, not even close to the same level. All right. But anyway, back to the matter at hand. I understand, once again, that she's played over there before. This is not her first time. I said that before. At the same time, you would think that she was warned by somebody. Look, I see you, you know what I'm saying, you chiefing over here, but, you know, that's not something you want to get caught with, because over here, it's not the same as where you're from. You go over there to make a little money, still want to relax. I get that. You know, you have certain rituals that you're accustomed to. I get that. But at the same time, your safety and your freedom should be your number one priority. And not the old, well, I'm gonna do it because I'm used to doing it. If you can't hold it back, then it's controlling you and you're not controlling it. I hate to see anybody get that type of time, let alone in a Russian jail. And you're an American, so does she speak the language? She'll learn it a little bit. I'm still hoping and praying, though, that somebody does something that can get her time reduced, or some type of switch, or whatever the case may be. Get the sister back over here. Get the sister back over here, and once again, hope she learns her lesson, because that is not a situation that anybody, I would wish on people. I don't know her personally, and you know, there's some things that were probably said in the past that I didn't agree with, but no, I don't wish that on anybody. We can disagree all day long, but for her to be in that type of situation, to be incarcerated is bad enough, but to be incarcerated in another country, nah, that's not a thing to do. Not at all. Okay. Now, next on the menu, I spoke of this earlier today on Facebook, and I was thinking about the great scam of voting. Yeah, the great scam of voting. How is it that in the presidential election, somebody can win the popular vote but not win the election? The Electoral College controls who wins the electoral votes for that particular state. Now, once again, the popular vote could be one thing, but the Electoral College will decide who gets those votes. So really and truly and logically, does it matter? Does it matter if you put that vote in, if they're going to give the electoral votes to whomever? I see it, as I said, this is just me. It's going to be an unpopular opinion, but I see it as a scam. I see it as something that was created not for us, but then once we got the opportunity to vote, it made it seem like it was something so great and so important, when those that are voted in have a history of not looking out for us. No matter who has been in office, at the state level, at the federal level, no matter who's been in, what have they truly done for us that is long-standing without some type of undertone that really brings us down? Okay. Of course, we're going to have to go back in history to the release of the slaves. 13th Amendment. Yeah, free them. They have nowhere to go. They don't own the land they worked on. There were too many of them for us to house and keep there. So they're homeless. Guess what? You're homeless? You're violating the law. Violating the law, you're a slave again. 40 acres and a mule. Okay, we're gonna give some of you 40 acres and a mule. We don't give you that. You can't pay the taxes. You go to jail. The land goes back to whomever, and you're back on the plantation. Okay, so you had the right to fight in the war. World War I. Look at World War I. You had the right to fight in the war, defend the country, defend someone else's idea of how the country should respond. But come back home and look how you're treated. Even though you have so-called patriots who said, oh, you fought for the country and yada, 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 but you're still a ninja. You're still third-class citizen. And I say third class because back in those times, you had the Anglos, the English Anglos, who then looked down upon some of the, let's say, the Irish and the, who was it? The Italians. So actually we're fourth class citizens, because I think we were kind of equal with the Asians at the time, but eventually the Asians surpassed us. So you get to the Depression, you get to World War II, same type of treatment. Where are these laws with these people that were voted in to make things better? Now you're going to fast forward. A lot of people say, well, look at segregation, look at the 60s and all the, okay. Were they still not hanging us and getting away with it? Were they still not murdering us and still not getting away with it? Where's the anti-lynching laws? You had a Governor Wallace in Alabama who was saying these schools will never be integrated. I don't care what the government says. Why was he still being voted in? Why couldn't he have been impeached? Because if you're going against the federal law, okay. So we fast forward even more into the 70s, where the drugs were pumped in harder to the Black communities. Okay, it did span out to the other communities, but it was pumped in so heavy in the 70s that the 80s began the epidemic that once again we go back to the prison system that turns us back into slaves, turns the men into slaves, it turns the mothers into both parents, and it turns the kids into zombies. Where are the laws? The same people that we're voting aren't doing anything to help us, because their idea of help for us is not the same as help for those that look like them. So this voting thing is I'd like to welcome into the group. Yeah, HD, Uncle Howard Hughes.
Yes, sir. Howard Hewitt.
That's it.
Amen.
How was your week, bro?
Busy, very busy. Just got through installing 2 water heaters. Well, 1 water heater for my lady here at this, and then 1 at my property. So just installing of the water heaters.
Okay. You got a hand. Boy, I tell you, can't tell them jokers nothing. They know how to use
Hold on, just 1 second.
Okay. So, but even going up to today, you have to remember, you had somebody not long ago told me that the past has nothing to do with the present. And I was telling them the past affects the present, because where we are, the nation, in order to have it, also have to have a turn. So
Okay.
to get here, it has been yeah, me. Nobody jumped on, so I jumped right on in.
Yeah.
I started with Iman Shumpert.
With who?
Iman Shumpert.
Iman Shumpert.
Used to play for the Knicks.
Oh, okay. I'm still new to this whole thing with the sports, so you got to forgive me if I don't know a whole lot of names. So
Oh, it's all good. He's the
I have
guy.
my favorites, you know what I mean? So I still sticking with, like, for instance, Tom Brady, or, or when it comes to basketball, I got my guy over here with Giannis, and, for the Bucks, and,
Yeah.
stuff like that, or whatever the case. And the stat scores for who's the fastest release on the football, stuff like that. I'm all coming into play, coming from the 20-yard line all the way up to 25. They're just becoming a bunch of babies. Nobody wants to watch the Pro Bowl, that type of stuff, because it's almost like playing tag football,
The Pro Bowl is a step below preseason football.
Right.
And that's why nobody wants to watch it, because it's not like it used to be. Once Kevin Falk got hurt, it began to get watered down. They used to have other activities during the Pro Bowl, like racing, beach volleyball, that these guys would come out there and they'd enjoy themselves. And Kevin Falk, I believe it was, tore his ACL, I want to say. I may be wrong, but I know he had a major injury, and it really messed up his career. And they decided at that point, we're not going to do all these activities that, we're used to seeing them do in the Pro Bowl. And ever since then, they're like, I don't want to watch that. I mean, it's bad enough that, okay, the rules themselves have changed to make the game, it's still a little violent, but a lot softer. And one of the reasons that the older fans watched the game was because it was violent.
Yes.
We want to see especially if it's not our team, we want to see somebody get laid out. We want to see somebody from our team flat on the back and be like, "Oh, did you see that hit? I can't wait to watch." But now you see that, oh, did you see that hit? He's about to get a $25,000 fine.
Right.
So, so if they're already watering it down,
yes,
then
which they are,
it's already the level of the Pro Bowl, what the Pro Bowl used to be. So if the Pro Bowl is even watered down even more than the regular season,
right?
Like, it is flag football. You might as well be playing two-hand touch.
Yeah, that's how it was for us. As kids. I just didn't know what the term was in the pro aspect of it until I started getting older or whatever. Knowing that this is pro football, this is like tag. Tag, you got it. No, I did tag you. No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Yeah, that's what it is. But with Iman Shumpert, he's the guy that got caught in the airport with 6 ounces.
Oh
yeah. Yeah.
What do you think about the lady that got caught over in Russia, I want to say?
Yeah, Brittany Griner. Yeah, I spoke about that one too. You're gonna have to go back and watch it because I don't remember what I said. But Brittany Griner, I'm like, okay, well, she's been over there before. At some point, I'm thinking somebody had to tell her how dangerous it was, or it is, to have that type of substance in her possession. At some point, this is not her first rodeo. She does this to supplement her income. They make good money overseas. I believe Ho Chi Minh can tell you, how good the money can be overseas for a ball player. I believe he played overseas.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you have the WNBA who's not paying like the NBA, and you want to live a certain lifestyle, you have to have the money to live that certain lifestyle. Me, act your wage.
Yeah.
I know you want to be fly and all this, that, and the third, but if you don't have it, you don't have it. You still have it.
I was under the impression that she was stating that she didn't know how that actually got it into her baggage and luggage. I'm just saying. That's what I stop it, Drew. You don't believe that, I take it. Well, what if that was true? What if that was true? Maybe knowing that she's a high profile type person or whatever. Okay, if she goes there, you said she travels there a lot. Then what if that was the case? What if that is true?
Okay, if that is true, let's break that down. Okay, if that's true, who put it there, and what's their purpose for putting it there?
And I'm wondering, if that's the case, you being a high profile person, why would you risk having your luggage? I would imagine nobody else would have your luggage unless you had it tucked in. You know how people check in their luggages and stuff like that. I wouldn't have my luggage checked in. If that's the case, I'm just saying.
Look, I know how popular that THC is nowadays, and like I said, this.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go back to Iman Shumpert real quick. Okay, you're in Texas, right? My man Maurice brought up a good point. He said maybe he was on a connecting flight. Okay, I get that. But if you have a controlled substance, if you have marijuana and you know you're going into Texas where it is illegal and your final destination is California,
Right.
why carrying that? It's legal in California. Whatever strand that you have, whatever you have that you're taking with you, they have that
Excuse me.
in California.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love for somebody to bring up a logical reason for him to still carry it. I would love to support the brother, but I can't support it because it's nothing that anybody can bring me makes enough sense for it not to be a bad move. And I'm not going to get derogatory and say it was stupid. I'm going to say it to be a bad move.
A bad move, yeah. That's put well. Yeah, I would say that too.
Because you don't watch The Shy, do you?
I used to, but no, I didn't watch a lot of it, even when I did. So yeah,
you might want to get into it. He's in the most recent season.
Mm-hmm.
Started in the last season, but he, you know what I'm saying? It looks like he's gaining ground a little bit with his acting. So that I love to see my people go ahead, and if they stop with one career, they can transition into something else so they can, just show their versatility. I like that.
Yeah.
And who else did that? Okay. Remember Hill Street Blues?
Yeah.
Remember the guy with the big afro, Michael Warren?
I think so.
Yeah. He was the second best player on that team, that UCLA team with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar that had the winning record. So he stopped basketball. He was the second best player on the team. And these jokers won I think Kareem lost 2, maybe 3 games in his entire college career. And that was his second. And this dude went into acting. All right, then. That's what's up, bro. You know you can hoop. I saw him on an episode of The White Shadow. I White Shadow. I was like, yo, that's Michael. Oh, damn. He can hoop.
Can you hoop, Drew?
I do a little something.
Little something.
A little something. You better not sleep because I'm comatose.
Yeah. That was one of my best things, man, that I used to do aside from tumbling. I used to hoop a lot, man. I was quick on a flip, just switching. I'll switch up on you, whatever the case. And man, I was really it would take my oldest brother to tell you, because how I don't know if you have any siblings or whatever.
All female.
Huh?
All women. All my siblings are women.
But it's like, for your older brother to tell you, oh yeah, Howard used to be cold on the court, like that or whatever. I'm like,
oh yeah,
I never knew that he even paid attention, let alone observe me like that, because my oldest brother wasn't really around like that. I mean, to see me like when I'm playing with my other friends or whatever the case. But I guess he was around. Yeah. And everybody knew I flipped. You know what I mean? That was one thing I knew everybody knew about I'll flip my ass, just twisting and no hands and Reeboks, all that type of stuff. Walking the fence line. Reeboks is like, putting your hands on some, flipping over with your hands,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I used to do that a lot. Jump off of like, different like porches or whatever case, doing a flip off of that and stuff like that or whatever. Yeah, I was living a dangerous life, man. Run. You know how people used to walk on fences, on top of fences, like the pole iron fences or whatever, to see if they could balance themselves, like they walking on a rope line. That was me.
You a bad man then. You were a bad man.
Yeah. Man, yeah, we got to put in. Yeah. How HD, whatever, don't matter.
Throw something at him. Throw a sock at him.
Throw a sock at him. Were you talking to someone outside? I just heard you. Somebody, Lance came back or something? Oh, you all right? Yeah. Tell him we need that back. Yeah.
And then I was gonna say if she put it in, then I'll put crying.
Right.
I'll put laughing out loud, but I always put
well, whatever. He ain't gonna be, he'll laugh when you get him bottom. No, it was this guy. He was my lady. She has on card where he does favors for her, different properties or whatever the case, and every now and then, if something goes wrong, like her HVAC, she'll have him call him on site because he does stuff, separate and aside from the company. So, and I just figured since yesterday I installed me and her brother installed the water heater yesterday in one of my properties, or in my property or whatever. Figured we'll go ahead and tackle hers at the same time today. So we just got through, but we had scheduled her guy to come out, which is tomorrow. But I figured if we already got it installed today, so I just wanted to keep him as a backup, just in case. But he wanted $150, which ain't bad, to go ahead and install a water heater. I bought the water heaters and stuff like that. They were on sale for $5 something or whatever. So I was like, if we could do it ourselves, it would make sense to sit up here and have nobody else to come and install it. But I just wanted to make sure, I was going to have that assistance again today before I canceled him. So now that we got it hooked up, we don't need him. It took us about 45 minutes to hook it up, get it all set, ready to go. And it's probably going to be another hour before it's ready to go ahead and run the hot water, of course, but because it's got to fill up. It's a 40 gallon tank.
Oh, yeah. Okay, nice.
So, but yeah, man. So, what's your other topic aside from? I know you were finishing up, so I apologize on that.
No, there's no problem. And I was about to say I didn't have an older brother. I had a lot of older cousins. Mm-hmm. And actually, I didn't pick up the game of basketball till I was 14. I was a huge football fan, but being that I was so much smaller than everybody, it's like I stopped growing.
Me too.
Or grew at a real slow rate. But I picked up basketball, fell in love with the game. Me too. I graduated, came back home, and my cousin, who played in the NBA, actually has a ring with the last championship team that the Knicks had, and he always came home to see his grandmother. So, but he would always come to the gym and help guys that were hooping. He showed them things and stuff. Holshman knows him, and he was like, "Well, why didn't you go out for the team in high school?" I said, "Man," I quit. They cut me. No, they cut me. I quit. Then they cut me.
And he's like, cut me, I quit, and then they cut me.
Yeah, because he was like, man, why did you quit? And he was like, that you don't know what that meant to me. All 5'7" of me, 130 pounds soaking wet. And he's like, why did you quit? You know, I'm sitting out there showing him things, and he's like, dang, this guy here. And that made me feel like I was on top of the world, you know. But my freshman year, I wasn't good enough. My sophomore year, I was good enough to start JV, but I had to choose between the chorus and basketball because there was regionals or something that I had to practice for, and I couldn't do both. So I chose the chorus. I knew I was good in that. I wasn't sure about basketball. Junior year, the same thing. Senior year, we would have had time to work it out because I knew all the ins and outs of the chorus thing by then. I could have done both. But the coach said they didn't want any first year seniors.
Wow.
So I wound up running winter track. And I did my thing in winter track. But boy, I'm gonna tell you, that winter track, your mind has to be in it because the tracks are smaller. So when you run a mile, instead of 4 laps, you're running 10.
Oh my God.
10 laps?
I think I did track for about 4 weeks. And the funny thing about it, I'm gonna tell you this, Drew. Funny thing about it is that I never liked working out then, like I did when I got older. Oh man, I got like I don't know what, man. But I hated weights in high school. I hated doing the exercise in high school. No matter what sport, they wanted you to exercise, go around the track. It hurt my back to run around the track. You know, I was like, man, is it ever gonna fucking stop? You know, I'm thinking to myself, you know. So I quit. I ain't come back. You know, I'm like, you ain't gonna get me. You ain't gonna make me sit up here and exercise just to do something that I like to do. I don't want to do it no more.
I quit track my sophomore year because people were like, yeah, you're pretty fast. You can run. So I went out there. My coach, who's an awesome coach, won coach of the year in the country for like in 2 years, like 96 and 98 or 97, 98, something like that. This joker had the bright idea to put me on hurdles. Now, I had to be all of 5'5", 5'4", 5'5", running hurdles.
You and I were the same size. You and I were the same height.
Now,
I was about 5'6".
Now, mind you, have you seen how high those hurdles are? So my friends used to tease me and said I must be running and ducking under them because I'm not going over them. So we had we practiced inside sometime. We had a Catherine Hall is what they called it. No, we didn't have an inside track. It was a nice long hallway in the middle school, basically. And the track was next to it. But we would practice inside because, you know, it gets cold in Pennsylvania.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was in there with the girls. Now, our girls team was awesome. Won states all 4 years I was there. Okay. So, and them girls didn't play. They came to work. I tripped up in front of them hurdles. I tripped up over a couple of them hurdles in front of them girls and they was laughing. I ain't go back to practice on my senior year. I let a whole year pass before they saw me again out there.
hey, check this out. I thought I was going to do something better, you know, right, than doing like track. So why would I sit up here and get on wrestling? Now, at least I stayed on there for a little bit, you know, longer. I stayed on wrestling for it was shorter than a year. I'll put it like that. But again, it was the exercise regimen. And soon as I found something that I like to do, whatever, this dude, now, Calumet High School is like almost 2 blocks long. So we were, of course, like we would run and jog, which I hated because I gave up the tracking, right? He had us jogging. I'm like, this ain't track, you know? And so after that, we supposed to go and do squats. I hated squats. It hurt my back, just like Ronnie did, right?
Yeah.
No, but that wasn't enough. It didn't stop there, though, Drew. he had us to do what's called bear crawls. And I thought it was pretty cool until he had us to go around the whole damn hallway and the back and around 3 times doing bear crawls. I'm like, oh hell no. I quit. I ain't go back. I
Yeah.
ain't go back. I just went my regular scheduled program, going to school, trying to pass that, trying to keep my head up with that, because it was enough doing book reports. And I was bad at school, man. I mean, in a nerdish type way, I guess. I mean, I wasn't really popular, nothing like that or
Yeah.
whatever. It's just one of those things. I'm just trying to keep up with curriculum as best as I could without having to look for handouts or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sports, I couldn't really, get that under control for the sake of the exercise. And that was, stressful as it was. So I'm like, I couldn't have the stress of the mindset versus the stress on the body together. I was like, one of these got to go, I wind up just giving up the sports part of it, man. I was like, I gotta focus on something else. Hell, this ain't it.
In South Carolina, well, I know where I'm from. I can't speak for the entire state. Wrestling, we didn't have wrestling as a sport in high school. But growing up, we wrestled for fun. Because one of the things was, being that I'm a smaller guy, bigger guys always wanted to grab you or whatever. So
right.
The smaller people, a lot of the smaller people, and even some of the bigger people, they learned how to do that, how to wrestle without being taught, because we grew up doing it. So you have somebody who was like me, let's say I'm in 4th grade and I weigh all of 40, 50 pounds and everybody else is weighing like 70 or 80. They still want to grab me and I still have to hold my own.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, once you can dump somebody, oh man, that's it. So when I went to Pennsylvania and they had a wrestling team, I was like, shoot, I can do that. We do that for fun. You know what I'm saying? Back where I'm from.
We do that
So, but I didn't like that onesie thing. I'm not a fan of the onesie. And then I saw my homie get grabbed by his sack. And I said, oh no, because I had to get up swinging. I'd had to get up swinging. I'm not doing it. That's not for me. And then our health teacher was the wrestling coach. And he was talking about it. And I'm like, nah. And he was like, what's wrong with wrestling? I said, because it got, I just don't feel comfortable in a onesie rubbing up with another guy. That just doesn't feel right to me. He took offense to that. He almost failed me. In health. Yes. He had it out for me. I had a report that I had to do. And I was always a last minute person with my reports. Always have been. I'm still that way.
Me too.
But even with it being last minute, it's still B+ to A quality.
Yeah.
This joker gave me a F.
Wow.
And my one of my classmate, he was from Ireland, and he's like, and he talks funny. He's like, I don't understand why he gave you an F. I mean, I thought the report was awesome. And I just know, I guess he still doesn't like you, but I'm like, I know. I got out of there. And then my one of my best friends in high school, a couple of my best friends in high school that were in my student home, guys horse around. So, right. And they were bigger than me, of course. So they grab and they try, you wrestling. And then I and I get out of it. They're like, how'd you get out of that? I'm like, what you mean how'd I get out of it? It's like a natural reaction for me to get out of it so I wouldn't be stuck. Right. Come in, they grab me again and I get, man, it was like, man, you need to go out for wrestling. You get points for escaping. I said, nah, I ain't with that, man. Them jokers be in a onesie, they're trying to rub up on you and touch you all over the place. I ain't with that. And that was my main thing. But, as far as I'm thinking, as I think back, I'm like, if I can do this with guys that are bigger than me, who know what they're doing, imagine what I could have done with somebody my size.
They had that. We didn't wrestle and onesies or nothing like that. We wrestled with just our shorts and a t-shirt.
But look at here, our school was totally different because for one, we nonprofit organization that owned 51% stock in Herco. So everything we did, we didn't have to pay for.
Oh,
Your track shoes, your outfits, all that was provided by the school.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
that was.
different then. That's
Yeah, we
different.
didn't have to pay for any of that. I mean, when we ran at Nikes and Adidas and didn't have to pay for it.
Oh, okay. That's different.
Yeah. So, and then also I remember my senior year, I told you I ran winter track, right? So in order to condition us, we had different types of things. We went in, we did aerobics 1 week, and 1 week we went in with the freshman wrestling team. So by now we've been doing this for like a week, a month or so. We feel like we in some great shape. Oh yeah, we're gonna have your workout with the freshman wrestling team. Oh, word. Oh, this is gonna be a breeze. We lasted about 10 minutes tops. Tops. We were wore out. Look,
Some freshman
when they
blood.
we was like, when they coming back to get us? Y'all need to hurry up, man. These jokers, they ain't playing. But yeah, you know, that's just the high school fun that we had as far as sports, and it was a lot different being in a different around different culture. Coming from South Carolina, going to Pennsylvania, which that's something totally different within itself, and then being in a boarding school where you have so many people from different backgrounds.
Okay.
Different, you know, different life stories. Huh?
How did that affect you in a sense? Moving from one area to the next, and
it helped me with my social skills eventually. I was a shy, most people don't believe, but I was shy back then. But once I got around you and warmed up to you, yeah, I had no problem. Once I got in my comfort zone, I felt comfortable trying new things.
Just yeah.
I was an extrovert that was just in a shell.
Okay.
And I was more comfortable trying new things because at the time I'm the only one there from South Carolina. So anybody that came up anything close to me wasn't there. So okay, I never really played basketball, but none of my friends really played basketball. We played football, kickball, dodgeball, stickball. That's what we played. We really didn't play basketball like that. So now I'm playing basketball. Now I'm playing volleyball. I really don't like volleyball. Now I'm in here, I'm learning things about people from different areas. I had to take a class like public speaking. That was a requirement to graduate. You had to pass that class in high school. We had a religion class we had to pass. We had a humanities class that we had to pass. Right. Yeah. And these are different things that were introduced to me, and you know, different types of comic books, and you know, it's just people, you get people from all over that have different likes, different music. I wasn't listening to U2 in South Carolina. I wasn't listening to Aerosmith and NXS. You know, I wasn't listening to any of that. But sitting there with my roommate who played it all the time, like, yo, that's kind of fly right there. I like that. I'm about, you know, the Rattle and Hum album came out. I'm sitting there, you know, jamming with him. Sting, you know what I'm saying? I was just talking to him the other week. I was like, yo, man, you turned me on some good music. He's like, yeah, I still love my U2. That was his favorite group. And so it just opened my eyes to a lot more of the world, which is probably why now I like to look at things from both sides more than a lot of people, because
it opens up your culture, you know, to different things in your mindset and everything else. So
and
Drew,
the acceptance of other people.
If you don't mind, I hate to interrupt, but how did you come across meeting 6'8" and Russell and you know all the other guys, Mr. Wright, you know, Kwame?
Okay, me and Kwame and Gianni Russo, I met them in middle school. That's when, because around here they have different elementary schools, but it was like one major middle school. There's a couple major middle schools. There's only like two major middle schools that at the time. So we were all classmates. So, you know, you see people around, and you know, Kwame, I remember Kwame was in my 6th grade English class with me, him and his sister Tia. So, you know, I think Kwame used to flip back in the days too, if I'm not mistaken. But
Oh,
you
wow.
know, yeah. So you know, you
We
see
got something
people
in
and
common.
right, and you see this person is cool. You know, you talk to them, you chop it up with them, even if you don't have lots of classes with them, you don't have any problems with them. So you know, and Gianni was always popular. He was tall, you know, and he always like, I didn't know I was that popular, bro. You was popular, you know. Everybody knew you. He was like, and he's like, he plays it down a lot. He plays it down a lot. Man, the girls used to love you in middle school, you know, because I left after middle school. Man, I don't remember that. I don't remember nobody. Man, listen, I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, if you say so. And I do.
Which
But
one was this? Russell?
yeah, yeah, because he was a you know, he was an athletic dude, played basketball, played football, and you know, in middle school, high school, popularity, you're on sports, you're automatically seen. I was in the band. I was a part of, you know, a large group that nobody's paying attention to me, and unless I have a solo. That's all right. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
okay though. It's okay. And Josh, I started a sports group about 10 years ago, maybe 10 or 11 years ago. And it was all out war because the group was nothing like any other group that people were used to. We had two admins, me and my cousin Chris. We were the admins. Like I was saying last week or week before last, the only two rules were you don't attack anybody's family. You don't call a woman out her name unless she invites it. Like if she calls you the B word first, then it's no holds barred. But you don't open up that door. And it was so much trash talk. And everybody, well, the majority of people in there loved it. It was a free for all. It was like a royal rumble. Everybody at everybody. Because let's say like if you and I had the same pro team, 9 times out of 10, we're not going to have the same college team. So we can talk trash to each other on Saturday, but we rooting with each other on Sunday. And then if somebody jump on you and talk about our team, I'm jumping in and I'm kicking them in the neck. Hold up, you know. So, and it was that type of thing. And Josh, being a Ravens fan, talked a lot of trash to Josh because they're our rivals. So, but then the group is still active, but the way Facebook is now and shutting everything down, oh, this comment was derogatory, this is it. So we really had to cut all that out. But over the next 4, 5, 6 years, I mean, the group was still going strong, but we became more like a family. So yeah, we still talk trash to each other and yada, yada, yada. But, you know, I'm down for you. Everybody that the OGs in that group know I'm down for you. You know, something happened to you, it happened to me. And I'm talking about we went from people wanting to fight, literally fight, like meet me at the gas station. That type, you know what I'm saying? That type of thing. I know where you live. Oh,
Right.
yeah. I had a dude come at me, you know. I said, well, you know where I am. Come on. But, you know, because in this group, you can come at the admins. I'm sure you've been in a group where you talk trash to the admin, they kick you out. Nah, come on. I can talk trash just like you. Come on.
Yes. Yeah.
So people loved that group until, you know, they started with all this, that, and the other, and people got sensitive. We got to the point, it's so funny. We got to the point where we would invite people.
Where was it generated on? Where was the sports group generated on? What sort of platform was it?
You mean Facebook?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we would invite people in the group and we tell them, look, this ain't that type of group where you gonna come in because everybody came in the group. Oh, I'm gonna run things. Oh, y'all think y'all could talk trash? Let's see how long they last. If you can take that initiation, is like a gang initiation, but verbally.
Right.
We had a Patriots fan got run out by other Patriots fan. Oh, you a bandwagon and we don't play that in here. You know what I'm saying? They left the group. Man, it was oh my gosh. We just had so much that went on in that group over the years that we could think about, and Josh loved all of it. And Josh, was dating my sister's cousin. And
Sister's cousin. So your cousin.
no, my sister and I have different fathers.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So we were at my nephew's football game. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, dang, this dude look familiar. And I'm looking, he's like, Drew? I said, who in the world is calling my name? I don't know this big dude. I was like, oh, this big Josh. Okay. Yeah. So I was like, okay, that's what's up.
Man,
I don't know this big Negro. Look at here, John Coffee.
Man, who are you?
Hey, looking at him like, look at here, John Coffee. So, so that's how I know Josh.
That makes me look at some of the hype around sports when Josh speaks a lot of times, and he carries his house around the sport because he's used to that sort of flavor from having to have that connect with you. I notice.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Because they used to call me Mr. Well, see, one of my nicknames was the Professor. Because we'd get into it, not just start throwing stuff out there. So Josh called me Mr. Off the Dome. Because I had like stuff, like stats or instances memorized. And he'd be like, oh, went on to Mr. Off the Dome. Get him, Mr. Off the Dome. Get him.
Off the dome.
We just go in on each other, and especially with the Cowboy fans, and it's always their year. And then you have somebody that comes in that likes a team. They're like the only Viking fan. He didn't last. The only Chargers fan. He didn't last. If you didn't have more people, it was hard for you to last because you defending yourself. You like on your back swinging at 6 different people with different teams, and their team could suck. Like we have Falcon fans. The Falcons always suck, but they still want to attack somebody.
Wow.
Go sit in the corner, man.
As long as they at group, right?
Right. Y'all got 3 wins. It's the 12th week. Y'all got 3 wins. Please sit down somewhere.
Right.
Get ready for the draft. We know you have a high draft pick this year. But yeah, that's that. It was. Let's see, Hoshman. Hoshman's from the area as well. He was cool with a friend of mine named Chico. Well, we call him Chico. Chico lived 2 doors down from me in the projects, and they played ball together. So Chico always talking about, yeah, Hoshman this and Hoshman. I'm like, who is this Hoshman dude? And why does he have such a funny name? So is he Asian?
Why does he have that
So
funny name? He's about what, 6'8", 6'9"?
Yeah, Hostbot was 6'3", 6'4", I think, and both of them were guards, and they were both tall. So I was like, okay, so Hoshman's cool. That's how I met Hoshman. These guys are younger than me. But let's see who else has been on. Simeon. I've known Simeon since I was about
that name.
Simeon and his brother. I've known them since I was probably about 3-4 years old. They lived across the street from my cousins.
Oh wow! So a lot of the people that you've had on you've had history from the youth, basically.
Yeah. Like my cousin Danny that I tried to invite on. Every time I went over, if Danny came to town,
whatever happened with that? What did he say?
He said he was in a meeting, so he couldn't jump in. He was in a meeting. He does real estate now, so his meetings can be whenever.
Oh wow. That's a good market to be in, especially with today.
Yeah. So but whenever Danny would come down from Florence, my mom said Danny's in town, so I'd be like, okay, well, when are we going? Do I have to walk over there, or are you gonna drive?
Right.
I'll take the walk, and then we go over there. Then we go over to Simeon's house because Simeon had the Millennium Falcon. And and I had the X-Wing fighter, and Danny had the joint that Darth Vader was in, and we'd be over there with our Star Wars and all that. So that's how far back we go.
Oh my God, man.
See, Simeon's a year older than me, and I'm a year older than Danny.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're just in, and then we go outside and play football on the street and all that. So But I tell you, Simeon, I know back in the day, that brother could draw. That brother could draw. I saw he was drawing like a comic book in middle school.
Wow.
Dude had talent.
I was in art for just a tad bit. I was in the comic books for just a little while, just enough to kind of mess around with and dabble with a little art, drawing different, things like the Hulk or, Spider-Man, stuff like that or whatever.
Yeah.
Different, but Superman became my favorite as I got older, because me being growing up, as you call it, an in-shell sort of extrovert, what I call it, an introvert. I was, I felt like I had that, it was like this oxymoron, in 1 minute, I'm this Clark Kent type guy, but as soon as I sit up here, I'm in the right crowd, and the right type of feeling, in the right way, got on my suit and my tie and everything else. On Valentine's Day, I'm Superman. But after a while, depending on the person or the crowd that you're around,
yeah,
they know the both sides of you, and you can be who you are.
Right.
It's hard to find those type of people in your life that really want to have that sort of level of understanding about you, especially when so many people are so quick to dismiss you.
Right.
Want that. I would think people would want that bond, but so many people of our era, of this era now, are so quick to just nah, or they're just so judgmental, about things that go ahead and just give up and just, I'm gonna go ahead and block this person. Who are you? Who, especially on TikTok? Oh, it happens all the time. It's just like, wow, what kind of really generation are we dealing with? Oh,
yeah.
and I ain't talking about just young people.
Right.
It goes, there's no age factor to it.
Right. Most definitely.
Just the era that we live in,
Yeah.
I'm like, ain't no way in hell I will, if I was available, I wouldn't go on a date with you. You just people are. I'm serious. That people are so focused on their with women now. Most women that I've seen are so focused on their outward adornment, they forget what's on the inside, man. And it's like, seriously? I mean, it's almost like they're hungry. Like what they used to call guys a lot of times, thirsty.
Yep.
But it's like the reverse of that, because you see a lot of it's so quick to put themselves out there, their bodies, and for what? All you got to do is be a person, that is respectful, beautiful on the inside, and talk like he got some sense. And
that's the hard part for a lot of them.
Hard,
Yeah.
It's hard to find people that are like that. But when you have someone like that, you ain't sacrificing that for nothing, and none of the stuff that's out here. I don't care how fine you look.
Right. Right. But it all goes to more of what's on the inside, like you said. Because it depends on the person, because everybody's looking for something different, and too many people want to make things cookie cutter, but there are too many flavors out there for you to sit there and be salty. So something like, you may be looking for someone who is more of an introvert, pretty, but an introvert, not friendly. And let's say I'm looking for somebody who's the life of the party. Your view isn't wrong, and neither is mine, because that's what fits us. But then everybody want to make it a lot of these things cookie cutter. It's not cookie cutter. You're dealing with human nature, and human nature is anything but. There is a huge gray area that you have to learn and understand how to navigate through it. But with not everyone, lots of people wanting to tell you it's either this or it's that, and there's no in between, they're the ones that's ruining it for the masses, because that's on the inside of those lines, that is not explained, not defined. That's what a lot of people are experiencing, and they're leaning to one side or the other without realizing you can stay in the middle and stay who you are.
Ooh, that's deep. I like that. I like that. Yeah, because you said there's so vast of a great area. I like that. The way in which you said it, because there are so many variations of people that are out there, and there's no right or wrong. It's just you,
Right.
you know. And whether there's a
Right.
majority of this or a majority of that, you just have to be open-minded to be able to know what those different variations are. Otherwise, you're going to miss the boat.
Exactly. And there's no, well, do men like this? Ask the man you're trying to date, or ask the man you're dating. Don't ask men. Ask them and listen. Listen and hear.
You see, that's all the time. And for the lack of I'll put it like this: there's a lot of guys that's out there that claim they speak for other guys, and I'm like, why? Just like you said, why are you asking a guy about another guy? That guy isn't that guy. He can't speak even for most guys because, first of all, he doesn't know most guys, and that would assume that he knows most guys, and that's men of the world, and not in particular. So if you want to know something in particular, then ask the particular person. It's just logic sense.
I have a rule when it comes to these podcasts or whatever, that you know how we love to, okay, well, give me the other side. Okay, I see how we can come to that. If, let's say, like we have the Derek Jacksons, and some of these other whatever, if they're speaking, you have the opposite sex speaking to you, and you don't have to change anything, something wrong.
Yeah.
He's catering. He's not helping you. He's hindering you. He's not helping, because a man should know that if there is a large group of men promoting a problem, it takes two. You understand? It's a couple thing. So if men are feeling that something is missing, you should, and you're talking to the other side, you should be telling the other side what's missing if you want them to fill it. But you cannot expect a man to continually work. And I've asked this question quite a few times in the past 20 or so years. What is a woman's job? Because we're continually being told a man's job is to provide, protect, open doors, do this, that, and the third. So what is the woman supposed to do other than just be there? And you can't tell me it's biblical, it's old school, because in the Bible, the woman worked. She didn't just sit home and take care of the kids. If she had a skill, she made do with that skill to help with back then, the finances for the household. So I don't know where they get that a woman is just supposed to sit in the house and do the kid. If all you're doing is sitting in the house.
I think that became more traditional than more biblical, because people that were even in religion, they practice traditional religion. That's why when people talk about churches, people think that all churches are the same. And no, the scripture speaks of a pure religion. All religions are not the same, but a pure religion is that of the spirit. And you know what a pure religion is when you sit up here and it asks the question, it says, who could find a virtuous woman?
Ooh, was that Psalms or Proverbs 31? One of them two. I know that one. And it's crazy. I could not name one. I can't name one other. I cannot name one other thing unless you say in the beginning. That's the only one I can call out by name and number. That's it. They're the only two. But you know what it was? I'm gonna tell you what it was, and people that are watching, I'm gonna break it down in 2 words. Westernized education. Boom, I said it all. That's it. The westernized education of how and what we, because remember this, even with divorce, it wasn't really something that it was there, but it was something they really didn't practice much until England and was it the 1600s?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and before then there was polygamy as a major thing. You can go biblical with that. They had many wives, they had concubines, as many as they could provide for. And back then, well, of course, if you got you working and your 4 wives working, y'all got a nice little you know what I'm saying, compound right there.
Exactly.
But then they said, hold up. These people are working together. Yeah, that hold up. Hey, we can't let these niggas get too big. Hold up. Hey, no, we only want you with one wife. And then they said, okay, well, even in the slave fields, they had the women working too.
Yeah.
But your wife ain't supposed to work because you had all these other people working for you. So then here we go into the 1900s. Now they want to say, oh, well, the woman should be sitting at home. Their women already been sitting at home. Now you want our women sitting at home, knowing that we're not making the same wages as you. Come on, man. Westernized education.
And what's funny is that was the reason why it was questioned in the Bible, because it was a hard task then, and it's still a hard task, even harder now, to find a virtuous woman, because you knew that was what it was. As a matter of fact, I'll go even further with you. Before that scripture was quoted, I'll go back to the book of Ruth. Everybody believed a Boaz, but they're not willing to become a Ruth.
Woo.
Now, Ruth, if you remember, had a husband that passed, and she followed her mom to a far country and ended up in a township where Boaz, having to observe Ruth from afar, it says, and as he watched her, you know, and he watched her. Now, granted, the Bible says, he who finds a wife, it's almost as if that scripture has been misinterpreted so many times. And when I hear it, I always think about some sort of caveman days, like, why? So you, me, I don't come with the hair, you're going to be my wife. No.
No. Yes, you are. Club in the hand.
If by divine intervention, and this is what I believe it was for Boaz and Ruth, that he happened upon her by divine intervention, saw her, observed her, because this is what men do that women don't. Sometimes some women don't understand. I'll put it like that. That you have to be in a state of being a wife before you become a wife. Just like husband has to be in a position to be a husbandman before he becomes a husband. Okay? Certain things that you do. Okay. Now, both are independent, and there's no doubt that 2 independent people can work together. Unless you are following the role of what's guided in scripture, and that is being that if you're a wife, why would you wait for your husband in order to become a wife? That means you're not practicing all this time that led you up into becoming possibly some man's wife. Why would you wait to find a husband to become a wife? That doesn't make sense. No different than a man. Why would you wait to become a handyman or a husband?
Say it again. Tell him now. Peoples now.
That's almost as if when man was created, man, he can't be a man until, I guess, a a wife was created. No, man was man before woman, as he said, was even created. So a man was a man. And
Right.
it's separate. It says that even afar, when man was put to sleep, it said, it is not good for man to be alone. I will
Mm-hmm.
make thee help meet. It didn't say that I will make you subordinate to me. It didn't say that I'm going to make you insignificant of me.
Right.
It says that I will make you a help. The key word help, meet. Help to meet the needs of a man. And so when woman was created, you could almost imagine when you see Adam from afar looking at a woman that looks somewhat like him, but not quite, but just as glorious, because he said, this is now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman,
Mm-hmm.
not a man. And I looked at that word, and the etymology of that word woman means the beauty or the glory of man. The beauty or the glory of man. So it's no wonder why a lot of men lust or crave or desire a woman, because it was in it. When woman was created, woman was made for man. Even as Paul's mentioned in the scripture, woman was made for man, not man for the woman. And sure
Right.
enough, lusting every day, every time you look
Hey,
around, women are
that
being, but sometimes I think the flip side of that, women get lost in their outward adornment, because you don't have to do much. Just be what God created you to be. And you're already beautiful.
and you have a better chance of finding who you are supposed to be with.
Yeah.
Because it'll divinely be there for you.
Yes.
I
And
get
all
it. I get it.
you got it.
I get it. Hey, I remember when I was younger, I had a lot of these thoughts when I was younger, and people always looked at me like I was weird. And people would talk about marriage, because that happened even when I was younger. People still got married when they were young, or they were in these long-term relationships with high school sweethearts, college sweethearts, what have you. And the issue of, when I'm a husband, I'll do this. When I'm a wife, I'll do this. And I would just pose the question, where's the button? And they're like, what button? What magical button is there that makes you instantaneously do this, that, and the third once you get married? If you're doing this in the
Yeah.
relationship, you're going to do that in the marriage.
Right.
And that goes for both. I'm not putting one above the other. And I didn't understand that it was human nature back then that I was talking about, but that's exactly what it is. Like you said, there is no practicing. Either you are or you aren't. You're going to do this now and do it then, or you're
Yeah.
not going to do this now and not do it then.
There you
So
go.
not that difficult,
Yeah,
but
nothing.
to,
Bring your
but
child
to,
in a way in which you would have them to go. If you were born, and that goes in so many other topics I can get into, but I won't. If you you are a woman. And you are a woman, you're raised as a woman. If you are a man, you're raised as a man. Nowadays, there's so many avenues, so many people that identify as so many different things. It's just so chaotic out here. You don't know who's raising your child and why they raising them the way they do. That if
mm-hmm.
way back the way in which we were back then, Lord, please.
But normally, that would or should come up in conversation. That those are things that need to come up in conversation before that broom is jumped, so to speak. I
Yeah,
know somebody around here, so they say, I don't believe it, but they say they met this person, And about a month later, they were married. I said, good luck with that. I mean, I don't want to look if it works, because they both claim they both of them are cool with me. So they're like, the spirit felt right and this, that, and the third. Cool. If the spirit felt right and you jumped into it because you felt this was it, that's cool. But at the same time, I see a lot of people playing with what they call the spirit.
Yeah.
They playing with Yahweh. They want to call him out. They're on Facebook or in public when they're being seen. They want to do all this, that, and the other, and praise him and this, that, and throw out the scriptures. And okay, that's cool, because that's for somebody else. And
Right.
and that's a double entendre right there, because that's not, is that the right word? Because it is for somebody else, because it's going to inspire somebody else. And it is for somebody else because that's the front that they want to put on. So that's for somebody else in two different ways. But the reality and the natural flow of it is that that's not what you follow. When I post a lot of the things on Facebook, and like if I put DR behind it, that means that's my original thought. Now, if I put you and this and that and the third, then, and I put DR behind it, it's an issue I already conquered. When I say we, I mean that's something we all need to work on, even with me, present company included. And it's something that I struggle with. I mean, I heavily struggle with. I won't post it. I feel like a hypocrite. You don't know how many statuses I'm typing it because that's what I'm feeling, because that's what it's in my spirit. I'm like, I can't post that. Not till I get right with it. No, I'm good. I'm good. Now, hopefully, when I conquer it, I can bring it back. But I'm not going to be out there leading somebody in something that I'm having the hardest time struggle. I have not gotten to that point, or that being that self-centered or self-righteous. I think that's a better word. I can't be that self-righteous.
I had to take a look at that too, Drew, about myself, and not the fact that I felt that I was righteous in a lot of my posts.
Yeah.
I felt that people thought I was talking about them, when in reality, a lot of these edifying, as they would put it, sayings that I would put out there, literary works, those were all inspired by the things that I was going through.
Right.
And it so happened that a lot of people related to it, or sometimes that shoe just fit like a motherfucker.
Ooh, it was tight. 2 sizes too small.
It's all right, but it ain't about you. But
right.
if it helps you.
Yeah. That's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Sometimes your struggle and your your victories can inspire. And sometimes knowing that you're not the only one, a person knowing that they're not the only one struggling can inspire. Say, okay, it's not just me. Every different people, once again, human nature, are inspired by different things in different ways. So those that are here to lead and inspire, they have to be careful with their messages. Now, everybody's not going to like it. That's a given. But those that don't like it, the seed is already planted. So if it's meant for that seed to grow, it will. It just may lay dormant for a while.
Yeah, I remember a lot of those sayings growing up.
Okay, exactly. Anybody that's in our age group has seeds that lay dormant for a while before they began to sprout.
Funny than me, man. My grandfather used to say, he used to have like these different stories he would tell, and I'm still learning of the because him being a preacher and all too, and that really really, really deep. So it was like, wow, I'm still learning.
Yeah. And that's a good thing. That's a great thing, actually, that you're still learning, that you realize and understand and can vocalize that you are a work in progress and there is progress.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people say they're a work in progress, but they're not moving forward.
Oh, yes. A work in progress, but not moving forward. Yeah, yeah. And you're saying God is working on you. Don't call God a lie. Don't lie on God, you know.
Well, he ain't finished yet, but he must be taking a break then. I don't know. It must be the 7th day when he rested. He's resting now.
Why you ain't moving, so.
But just paying attention to human nature is a natural thing for me. And that's one of the reasons I do my best to stay on course of not falling on one side without understanding the other. Because there are many times that we as mortal beings, we see a situation one way, and the reason we see it one way is because we're only focused on the one way, as if there is not another option, or there's not another reason, not another cause, not, there's nothing else to it but that. Like a lot of times we will call out racism, and a lot of times it isn't racism. Well, I can't say a lot of times. Sometimes it isn't racism. Sometimes it's just the person that looks like us did something wrong. And that's basically that's why I like to have as much information as possible. And like when we call out these things that happen, I can only go off of the information that I was given.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to see the other side just in case, so that I don't jump out the window without a parachute, without wings, without nothing. I'm just going straight to the ground, tied to a cinder block, so
Yeah.
we've been given minds. So we need to do our best to use them. And that's the only way for us to really move forward, is to use our minds and to know the difference in time and when to use our mind and when to use our brawn.
Yeah. And that's a very key point that you just made, because we certainly, especially as brothers and sisters, man, we certainly got to start being able to communicate better, if more effectively as well. And the reason why I say that is that too often you find these grudges being held without a limitation, and you wonder why that is. We're so quick to judge and be confrontational, but yet there's no room for forgiveness. And you'd be surprised how many of those same people will call themselves Christians. And that's why I say, of a pure religion, not a Christian. Because if you would read that scripture where it says, it is inevitable that temptations or offenses come. But when they come, and if they repent, if you rebuke them, and if you forgive them, even if they came 7 times in the same day. And that's a very hard saying. Even if they came 7 more times in the same day, and you rebuke them 7 times, and they repent 7 times, forgive them. So after that, that's when the apostles said, increase our faith. Increase it. Because that was saying to me, that's a very hard thing, because if the apostle says increase our faith, now apostles were given divine intervention. they were, I mean, they were given a direct connect to Christ himself, being able to do all miracles, walk on water, raise the dead, heal the sick. But yet, this small task, you would think, forgiveness would be the least of their miracles. I mean, that's not a miracle, right? Because they say, increase our faith. That's a very hard saying.
I'm gonna say it like this. Sometimes what seems like the simplest of things is the hardest of things.
Ah.
And that's indicative of what that's saying. Because it seems like it's simple to say, well, just forgive. And it seems simple.
It seems.
So what seems to be the simplest of things, sometimes it's the hardest of things.
Because it just shows you just the person that's in the mirror. And that's what I guess that's the point I'm coming to.
Yeah.
It shows you yourself more so than you realize. And when Christ also, he came back afterwards and he said to them, he says, even if you had the smallest of faith as a grain of a mustard seed,
Yeah.
you say to this sycamore tree, be uprooted. Now the grain of a mustard seed, you know how small that is? You know how tiny, that's tiny. You don't have to have much. He basically was telling you already have what you've been looking for. You already had it. You've been using it. Outside our houses every day, we get in our cars without even having to acknowledge, if it be the Lord's will, I will see you tomorrow. But no, it's common that we get in our cars, we go to work without having to think, what if? What if? What if? Almost like that sort of movie. What's the name of that movie? Final Destination or something like that.
Yeah.
It makes you think real hard about the things that we take for granted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you think you don't have faith, but then when you look at that movie, you realize just how much you do have.
Just walking across the street, bruh.
Anything can happen.
Anything.
And that's what Christ was telling them. You know how a sycamore tree is? A sycamore tree, its roots extends twice as long underground as it is above the ground. And the sycamore tree grows to about 100 feet above the ground.
Yeah, they're like one of the largest trees, them in redwoods, right?
Yeah, that's the largest tree. That's a very hard weight to uproot with the smallest grain.
Right. Just letting you know the power, your power that you've been given. But even within the power that you've been given, you still have to have a connection with the Creator in order to unlock and unleash that power. But it only takes a little bit. So imagine if you had a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna jump off this thing. This cat won't leave me alone. I'm trying to clean up over here, and this joker here. I'm gonna send him to you for the summer next time. Hey, you can't even sweep around this joker. He want to play with the broom. He was all the way. He was in another room. I picked up the broom, and he jetted over here to the broom. Lord have mercy. I tell you. But thanks for jumping on with me tonight, man. This was a great conversation, man. I really enjoyed it. As always, we have Funky Uncles episode 41.
Yes, in the house. Salute.
In the house. And let's see, what's today? Today is the 5th of August, which makes it 3 weeks till my birthday. Yes, sir. 3 weeks. Party time. We can party all up in here. play some Guy and the Time and all that up in here. And some Morris Day. Hallelujah. Whoa, 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 whoa.
that wig and shit. Oh,
Right. Somebody grab me a mirror. Jerome, get my mirror. Yeah, man. So everybody that's watching this, I hope you enjoyed the show. Me and the hitman Howie, Uncle Howie. We enjoyed doing this for you. I hope everybody that watched it, whether it's in pieces or all the way through, hope something informed you, something influenced you, something touched you, and we gave you something that you didn't have or fertilized something that was dormant. So, all right. So, Funky Uncles, we out till next week. And peace. All right.